Hey guys, Silencio here. Welcome back for another BeyCAST episode, and today we are talking about the brand new 4 Beyblades customized set, where technically it is just 2 new Beyblades with 2 reissuing Beyblades that have been released in the past. So it is the biggest set box right now that is being released, and it's coming out on the 3rd of November along with 2 other products which we already covered. One which is the Samurai Saber. We're going to talk about the next one later on when they finally give us more full details on the actual product itself. But for today we are talking about this big box because there are just so many things inside this thing that it makes community tournament prizes all the more worthwhile in terms of companies earning money from it, because they can give out more stuff during the competition prizes, and people are gonna be happy with it, and the companies that are buying these products to sell them, especially for B4 stores who are holding these community events, they're gonna be earning a lot more from this as well. And considering that this thing is so huge and it has so many parts inside there, we're looking at 2 full new Beyblades. So we have 6 new parts, 7 reissued parts in different colors, and yeah, so let's talk about the very first Beyblade that is actually released new in this set, which is the Patera Sling. So it's blade design. To be honest, when I first saw it, I was like, doesn't that look like Viper Tail? So yes, it's designed to be a stamina blade, so it does have a bit of those tiny sharp edges, but eventually after constant play and wear, exactly like Viper Tail, it will lose its critical capability. So another Beyblade, maybe not for the meta game, but definitely gonna be fun for other community style rulings and special setups, like one I just recently took part in with by Toymana, the company that's kind of working alongside with Shanghai Toys to sell Beyblade X products in Singapore. So they held a Halloween event where you build a deck that you are supposed to trade with your opponent, and then they're supposed to use that deck to play with you. So basically they call it the trick or treat format. So basically you create a deck that is the worst case scenario to give them the worst experience. So this I was very intrigued with that tournament because it really pulls down to actual skill and knowledge of each part, even though they are bad for certain setup combos, testing your capabilities. So I did pretty well. I was somewhere in the middle line of the whole ranking, so lost due to I took care of my parts, so my parts do not burst for no good reason, but other people just use all their super worn out parts, and they will just unlock themselves just because they land in the stadium. So oh my goodness, okay, I kudos to the people who have used parts in that manner. So for me, sadly to say, I take care of my stuff. I actually take care of my stuff, so I don't actually have a lot of parts that actually are very loose in terms of locking capabilities. But anyways, aside from that, let's talk about the other thing that is new along with the Patera setup, which is the 770. So 770, so first release of a 770. We have seen 760 already, and a lot of people are using it on Cobalt Dragoon with Elevate, but personally for myself, I don't find that combo fantastic because it unlocks itself too easily. 760. So same issues with 260 because the walls are so high, and then eventually when you touch the extreme line, it's just gonna unlock itself. And the problem with Elevate is it's so easy to burst as well, so I do not understand why people are using that as a meta combo. But anyways, okay, so first of all, let's talk about the other thing. So Rubber XL is finally debuting in Beyblade X in this set. So we don't have to wait for the 2025 anniversary set collection in order to get Rubber XL, but we are finally getting it here. And they do show a play clip on how it responds. So first of all, I kind of expected it already. Rubber XL, it's just gonna zoom once or twice and eventually it's gonna die from stamina. For us who have played in the plastic generation, we know how rubber bits work, and we know that it has destructive powers for the first 2 hits. If it doesn't land, that's the end of the game for it. So is this gonna be a viable meta bit? Maybe, but the thing is, in Beyblade X, things are going to be a lot tougher to play compared to back then in Plastic Gen. Plastic Gen, people just pull. Not much of strategizing back then, but now Beyblade has become somewhat of a very competitive sport, so people are using creative styles of play. So Rubber XL, I do not really see it as a viable meta bit. It's gonna be interesting though if we do have heavy blades that can just literally bang an opponent to extreme or over. So I guess it might be viable with Aero Pegasus. Let's see when it finally comes out. I will probably do a test play on it and see if it is a viable combo with Aero Pegasus. I would definitely put it as a shot to recommend you combos. But let's wait until then. Anyways, yeah, Rubber XL. So the other thing about Rubber XL is the blade, the bit design. It's very similar to Elevate. So it has that cup design. Where it actually kind of like makes it easier to hook up onto the extreme line. So this is where it comes in. So from the image you can tell that Rubber XL doesn't actually touch the stadium floor. So this is the second bit in the Beyblade X line collection that the bit is purposely designed to not touch the stadium floor. So the main reason why is because rubber already is being a material that has high friction, will reduce your stamina when it touches the stadium floor. So they purposely designed it in a way like Elevate. So I guess while they were designing Rubber XL, they kind of created Elevate. So same idea concept, and Elevate came out first before Rubber XL. So I guess Rubber XL was still in its kind of like a prototype phase before releasing it to the market. So Elevate came out first, then Rubber XL came out later after they've tried and tested the rubber material better. I can tell immediately off the bat that the rubber on the Rubber XL is definitely of a different material from Plastic Generation's rubber bits. So take note of that. Once Rubber XL does come out on the market, we will definitely try and poke around and see how soft it is. Anyways, okay, so the next thing we need to talk about is basically the teeth on Rubber XL, because Rubber XL, I think it's somewhat similar to XL. It has 16 teeth on the thing. So if you guys count like the teeth on the bit itself, the more numbers of teeth it has on the bit, it means that it hooks on and rides the rail faster. So since it has 16 teeth, I'm assuming, this is just an assumption, alright, that Rubber XL will actually be very, very good in the Double Extreme Stadium. That is, if you plan your launch right, your opponent lands in a really unfortunate place at the right timing, you ride the Double Extreme Stadium's right lines and just massive KO the fella because of how fast you are traveling. So the other thing about the Double Extreme Stadium that I probably didn't really mention is that the stadium, I did mention that it was a bit smaller compared to the regular stadium, but because it is smaller from the top portion where the lines merge together rather than the sides. So the Hasbro stadiums were smaller at the sides, where the travel rings are. So the Double Extreme Stadium is smaller from the top where the extreme hole is, and of course where the two lines actually meet. So with that, Rubber XL will definitely utilize the Double Extreme Stadium very well because of its smaller capacity and easier to hook up well, technically easier, but we don't know, because we've seen Elevate behave already, and Elevate doesn't really exactly hook onto the extreme line very well. So Rubber XL, I don't know, let's see how it goes when it finally comes out. I have a feeling it might not hook onto the extreme line as easily, but because of its sheer force compared to Elevate, it might be able to hook onto extreme lines a lot easier than Elevate does. So if that is the outcome, yeah, we do have a very, very, very aggressive one-hit wonder bit coming along the line, and let's see whether it stays in the meta game. In my personal view, I don't think it will, but you know, people would love to have that forceful impact to destroy a Bey or knock it out of the stadium very quickly. Okay, so let's talk about the next part, which is the new Night Mail. So this Beyblade is the evolution of Night Lance. So Night Lance was an offensive blade back then, a very underutilized blade, but it did see a bit of a competitive scene in Japan for a certain time period. And then Night Mail now is designed and evolved into a defense stamina blade. So a lot of people on the internet have been seeing Night Mail, and it kind of resembles like a dumpling, Chinese dumpling, especially for those who have eaten like the soup dumplings, xiaolong bao. Yeah, so it looks like a xiaolong bao, so it's like those dumplings with soups inside, so you kind of bite into it and then you get scalded by the burning hot soup. If any one of you have eaten Chinese dumplings before, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so Night Mail is kind of like an evolution of Drasil, because it is the first Beyblade X blade that has the ball bearings like Drasil did in the past. So yeah, very cool. So what the ball bearings are supposed to do is kind of like give the blade a bit more weight to stabilize and absorb impact. So the whole system, they even showed us like some kind of an x-ray of the whole Beyblade and the mechanism for the ball bouncing up and down. So they kind of made it in a way that it absorbs shock, so it doesn't fly as far. Then there is also the new ratchet that kind of complements the whole Beyblade setup. So the new ratchet has a new locking system as well, so it's not the white ribbon or the candy wrapper style design that we are so used to. Right now there is the transparent portions that you probably can't see. Only when they did the height comparison can you see the locking mechanisms that are separate, so it looks like a reverse 260. Those plastic pieces are the ones that lock onto the blade's underbody, and then yeah, so they don't really have that plastic piece that turns for left spin, right spin. I struggled with that a lot. I don't know if you guys have struggled with it, especially when reattaching another this ratchet on the right spin Beyblade to a left spin Beyblade. You had to shift the thing just to have it fit properly. So they kind of redesigned that mechanism so that it's actually easier to just move from a left spin to a right spin. Kudos Takara Togi for that design. Very, very smart. But again, let's see whether it deproves the bursting mechanism on the ratchet itself, like how when first they redesigned the locking mechanism under the blade, people were like so hoo-ha about it, you know, like it's gonna really affect the bursting mechanism, but eventually it didn't really matter that much. So anyways, yeah, so let's talk about also the new bit on this Night Mail setup, which is the what is it called again? I wrote it down here, so let's see. Yes, Bound Spike BS. It's a lot of bullshit. But yes, Bound Spike. So the main reason about this bit, we've already seen how Spike works on Rhino Horn. It takes the center stage of the base stadium very quickly, it stabilizes there, but unfortunately it doesn't have a lot of stamina. But Bound Spike was advertised to have a lot more stamina than regular Spike. So this is gonna be a pretty interesting thing. And the interesting mechanism or the gimmick on Bounce Spike is that it is built with a suspension gimmick. So if you guys know your cars or bicycles, suspension is the spring that absorbs shock. So Bounce Spike is a bouncy bit for the blade, right? So it goes up and down. From the video you can see it happen, and it absorbs shock. So literally the whole Night Nail concept is to absorb shock. So literally it will not fly too far, kind of. So the design of the bit's bottom portion as well, you can see the tiny little knob where there is a slightly rounder surface. It really reminds me of gear needle, just shrunken down without the gear lines. So I'm assuming from how it's designed that Bounce Spike will actually have a very good auto stabilizing factor, like how we've seen all the gear bits perform. So like gear flat, it has the kind of auto stand up functionalities and it stays standing up. So Bounce Spike is going to have that capability as well. At the same time, because it has a bit more circumference around the needle portion, it's going to give it a bit more rotational spin. So that's where the stamina play comes in. So Bounce Spike is definitely very interesting. We're gonna have a lot of play tests with it, and let's see how it helps with counter attacking Beyblades. You know, that's my theory. Alright, so anyways, that's pretty much it from all the brand new parts that is in this set. There are 7 more parts that are reissued, like the red and black Tyranno beat, which is very cool in color, because you know, when I first saw it I was like, isn't that the Red Ranger? It's like Tyrannosaurus, you know. It's literally a Power Ranger blade. And then we have the blue color Hell's hammer, which is very cool as well, because you know, blue flames are supposedly the highest temperature flames. Very cool. But of course, Hell's hammer, very underutilized blades. They're giving us fantastic ratchets as well. We've got a 160, and I can't remember what the other one was, but it's there. The ratchets are pretty useful. The bits, however, they gave us 3 useful bits, I think. There is the point, ball, metal needle, and I can't remember what was the last one. I think it was a pretty important meta bit as well, but you know, a pretty good range of reissued parts with a different color, especially for those who love to color coordinate their Beyblades. This set is going to be chef kiss. Awesome. Definitely gonna be worth your money. Let me take a look at how much it's going to be on the Japanese side. I'm gonna put the price down below. What do you guys think of the customized set unique line? What do you guys think? Will you be grabbing one? For me, definitely I will be buying one just for video review. Wait out for it when eventually we get it here in Singapore, or I'll import one from Japan and hopefully have the video out earlier before the Singapore release, because in Singapore our products are always 2 to 3 weeks later than Japan. But sometimes we get surprises because major events coming up, and sometimes we may get a simultaneous release or early release. I don't know. Let Takara Tomy or Shintai Toys surprise us by sending us these products earlier. I'm hoping that Samurai Saber might come early in Singapore, because we're getting our G1 Grand Prix pretty soon, so there are possibilities of early release. Who knows? Anyway guys, that's it for today's episode of BeyCAST. What do you guys think of the customized set unique line? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and of course don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like to this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell notification. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. Mata ne.